But it's great that you did such a great job, because at the end of the week, everybody was so happy and so kind to each other. For me, this is the most amazing thing, that everybody was so kind to each other. Because we talk about goodness, kindness, and it starts from where you are. No jealousy, you know, everybody trying to lift the other one. And for me, this is what it's all about. This is the practice, real practice of yoga. And you watch everybody working together. And, you know, chanting, Shanti was doing it with you, Om Namo Bhagavate Satchidananda. It just means Om Nama. Om is the primordial sound that touches everything. Bhagavate is like with the love from your heart. You know, when you talk to a father or somebody you respect, you know, it's that kind of love. Satchidananda means in the spirit of truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. And that is the nature of our true self. And that's how we're meant to live in this world, with this feeling, with this energy of truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. But again and again we're drowned by materialism, we're drowned by the news, we're drowned by advertising, we're drowned by, like he said, what people think. You know, we're just drowned. And when you chant like this, you know, you kind of reminded who you are and what you are. And it's so important to remind yourself every day, every day, every day, you know, I'm really, really, really not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self, I am. You know, all the time, just keep repeating it. Because the subject matter today is called abandonment. And this subject matter was requested by a young lady I used to know, your goddaughter, and she said I could mention it. I mentioned actually her name and the circumstances. And she said, Nalanie, I've been looking all over the internet, and I've read I've heard nearly all the talks you've done. I was surprised. But there's nothing on abandonment, not one time. And she's a beautiful young girl who I used to know when she was 14 or 15. And she was teased as a child because she had curly hair. But she had the sweetest soul. Really, her name is Christina. Sweetest, sweetest girl so sweet and gentle. Anyway, she got married, grew up, got married a couple of years ago. And she was so happy. She thought she met this man from the States. He seemed to be very much in love with her. They had this huge wedding. Beautiful wedding. You know, they had all the best, no problems. And she thought he really loved her. They moved to the States. Very soon later, 2 or 3 weeks later, his parents started to interfere with the marriage. And, excuse me, Gaia's hair has come to my throat. Gaia's my dog. Yeah. And so the parents started to interfere. And you could see they had a very abnormal relationship. The mother was very possessive of him, the only child. If I get anything wrong, please let me know. And kept on coming in. And when she used to come to their house, totally ignore her. As if from the wedding, suddenly to loving her, they just ignored her. Started taking him to the corner and saying horrible things about her. And so this got worse and worse. They used to have arguments, and so she thought, let me get a dog. Once I get a dog, maybe the dog will bring us together, because they said they wouldn't have children for 2 or 3 years. So they got a dog, and the dog actually did bring them closer together, and again the parents interfered, especially the mother, and started saying, I want to go out for lunch alone with my son, I don't want you around, and this got worse and worse. And this girl couldn't understand what was going on. You know, she's young, and she just wanted her marriage to work. Anyway, a few months down the road, they decided, she thought, okay, maybe we have a child. And maybe that will bring us close. So he agreed to having a child. Well, she had the baby, and the pregnancy was the worst she ever had. He screamed at her, called her ugly, called her all these horrible things, started saying that she had spoiled his life, and his parents feel alienated because of her. She's always complaining about that. She said, no, I'm just saying, why do they hate me so much? And why do you go off for lunches and teas and don't include me. I don't understand this. She's so confused. And then when her parents came and she had the baby, his parents walked into the house, ignored her parents totally, for no reason whatsoever, rude to them, and started getting upset at every little small thing that would happen, you know, like his mother wanted to come to her birth. She said, I don't want my mother-in-law at my birth. Who would, right? It's normal. She said, I want my mother, but it's very normal, right? So, but then the mother-in-law threw up a fit, a temper, told the son, you see, I told you about your wife. So she has the baby, and this gets worse after the baby. They go see a psychologist. And the psychologist, you have a very unhealthy relationship with your mother. It's sick. You need to break the umbilical cord. So he went home and said, yes, you're absolutely right. We're going to make this work. Mother calls. Go see her. And then he tells the mother that Christina had made him go see the psychologist who put all these horrible things into his head about them. Anyway, what happens is he comes home and he tells her, you have to leave. You have to get out of here. Go home, take the baby. She goes, your baby. Take the baby. Get out of it. She's in shock. She's in total shock. He packs all her clothes for her, puts it in a bag, threatens her. And of course, you're young, you're alone, your family's in England, you're in the States. She's so shocked. And then she calls her parents and said, you better just come home. He starts screaming, packs everything, literally throws her to the airport, buys her a one-way ticket, and he said, you watch out. I'm not going to give you a penny. And she put everything she had into a joint account with him as well. So the poor girl has gone home to England to her parents. She has nowhere to stay. She has no money. She has a baby. And then she called her neighbor, because she still, do you see how innocent we are? She still wanted to save her marriage. She still did. She said, it's my fault. I must have done something wrong. Maybe I wasn't good enough to his mother. You know how all these doubts and fears come into your mind. And so she tried to call him, email him, how can we make it work? We have a baby, you know, we had these dreams, we had a beautiful life together. What's gone on? He wouldn't answer. So she called the neighbor, and the neighbor told her the day after she left, he took all the baby's crib and everything, threw it into the garbage, gave the dog away, just gave the dog away to anybody who would take it, and acted as if he didn't want anything to do with her. Now she's in a state of shock because she said, this is 1.5 years and all this has happened. I feel totally abandoned. And she says,
Sorry, late.
oh, it's okay. That's absolutely okay. Please, sit down. Welcome. Nice to see you, Thomas. Is your mom coming?
Yeah, she's...
Okay, she's parking the car.
No, she was about it. She's already walking towards...
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
I'm so enthusiastic.
I know, so much energy. So anyway, this is the feeling, right? I'm so abandoned. I'm in so much pain. She feels a lot of guilt for no reason. Can you see why she should feel any guilt? But she's trying to make it in her head that she must have done something wrong. And she argued with him. Because she argued with him, maybe created this process. And now again, on top of the pain that she's suffering from abandonment, she is facing her own feelings of guilt. And this is what I notice happens a lot of times with people. When something wrong happens to them, yes, sometimes we are responsible. But you must admit, this behavior of this husband is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. You want somebody to, you don't throw them out like that. You don't throw your own child at 6 months old. It's unacceptable. So I wrote her yesterday, actually, because we've had a series of emails back and forth. And I said, stop the nonsense. I think you're saved. You know? Imagine the rest of your life with this man, up and down, and he has a relationship with his mother that is far too abnormal for me to even understand. It'll take a lifetime for you to understand. Thank God he left you, because you would have never left him. And you haven't abandoned him, he's abandoned you. Where is this guilt? Where is this guilt coming from? You did nothing wrong. And she wrote back, oh my God, I feel so much better. I said, no, you have done nothing wrong. It's so clear, make it so clear that he has abandoned you, threw you out of the house and got rid of you like that. So stop the nonsense and be grateful from this moment. You're going to suffer pain. Nobody can avoid this kind of pain. We all suffer pain. How many of us have, I'm sure many of you felt abandoned at one time of your life, your ex, you know, abandoned. But many people have suffered this feeling. I've had children whose parents have just, from the age of 18, said, go, get your life, and abandonment. And if they want to live life their own way, abandon. Rebecca told us of her story in a course. She didn't want to go to the path of Jehovah's Witness. She adored her mother. Abandonment. The mother said, I don't want to see you for 6 months now. Hasn't seen her. She's on stage for cancer. How do you think she's feeling? She said, my mother won't talk to me on the phone because I have a different way of being. So she's totally abandoned. You know, this feeling. And she adores her mom. And she knows her mother loves her. Do you see how ideas make people stuck? We need to, you know, be able to shift. It's all, can you see what's going on here very clearly? It's ego. Do you see it? It has to be my way or no way. And wherever you see this kind of ego in life, wherever you see this, walk away. Disregard. Remember what you studied? Disregard. Walk away. Don't stay in that energy field. Because many times, I think as human beings, we feel always guilty that we are wrong, that we have done something wrong, that maybe it was us. Yes, we must look at this. Maybe, of course, you know, it takes the other person. You have to put something in for this situation to happen. But in some cases, it's so clear. And I thought that before I go on the subject, I know I have a few questions to answer here, but I'd like to read to you something from the Gita that will make your mind a little bit more clear and not be so wishy-washy about what is right and what is not right. You know, in the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali, he tells us very, very clearly what are the laws, universal laws. By the practice of non-violence, what happens? All hostilities cease. By the practice of truthfulness, all nature will serve you, right? It's very clear. By the practice of non-stealing, all wealth comes. There's certain universal law. You have that in the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal, right? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Right? All the same laws. And the first one, I am the Lord thy God. Thou should not have strange gods before me. I am. Our master used to say, you know, like he said, when Moses went to Mount Sinai, right? And he asked, who are you, God? Who are you? And what did he answer? I am that I am. And our master used to say to us, and when somebody asks you, who are you? I am, and then the name. Correct? So you're not your name, you are, I am. That's the truth knowledge for this absolute. And if you want to feel that I am, these are the qualities you need to develop. This is your roadmap. This is your roadmap to know I am. And Sri Patanjali tells us so clearly, if you don't believe me, you practice this roadmap. Be kind to each other. Don't practice violence. Be truthful. You see how your life changes. And the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible reiterates it, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, any great text you read, you see, with goodness, you get a roadmap. And many of us talk about this, you know, I'm a good person. You know, I'm sure if you ask this woman whose son abandoned the daughter, she'll think she's a very good mother. She's looking out for her son. Probably in her own mind, that's what she's doing. But the mind is sick. And we have to be very clear. Very clear. And how I learned to do this, you know, when somebody was not very nice or had some really not kind qualities, I was just do it like this. Their soul is pure, but their mind is sick. I have to attend to the mind. I cannot attend to the soul because they won't understand if I attend to their soul. They won't understand. I'm double Dutch to them. So attend to the mind. And that's why you judge, what did Lord Jesus say? Judge the sin, not the sinner. But you have to judge the sin. Because if you don't judge the sin, what will happen? Your mind will get confused in this guilt. And then you feel bad about yourself. And then now not only one life is destroyed, many lives are destroyed. And then you start feeling guilty, then you get antidepressants because you want to depress those feelings or repress those feelings of guilt. You're constantly got a battle in your mind between, I know, because the soul needs to love, you know. When the soul doesn't love, it feels empty. So we'll find a way to that love. And sometimes if the passageway is not clear, we go the wrong way, you know. And Sri Patanjali gives it to us so clearly. For those who haven't read Sri Patanjali, I've just mentioned a few things that he said. Just focus on that. And the Bhagavad Gita, I'd like to read to you a chapter. It's called The Divine and the Demonic. So that you know very clearly in your mind what is acceptable and what is not. Sometimes as spiritual people, oh, poor thing. No, not poor thing. Why should you take a stick and beat a dog like that? It's not poor thing. We have to protect that animal. If everybody goes, poor thing, doesn't know better, walk away, this is what's happened to our world in all walks of life. In banking system and in politics and everything, we've allowed ourselves to be so spiritually good that we've lost our common sense. Right? You know, there's certain things that are not acceptable. And I think it's important that we understand them. Whether we are to do something about them, that's a different matter. Your nature will tell you that. But if it comes in front of you, and it comes into your life, then you need to be very clear about the way forward. Always try the path of giving the person many chances. But if you get hit, beat again and again and again, you have to let go. And see what qualities you're looking for. Sometimes it's very grey. You don't know. I mean, not so bad. The person's not so bad. They've got really good qualities. There are lots of grey areas. So be very clear not to fall into the mud. Because if you allow yourself to go into grey areas, that person may, when you are in your gentle, weak time, they may squash you. Remember the story of the monkey and the bird? I'll tell it again for the newcomers. I hope you don't mind the old comers. In the forest, they lived a monkey and a bird, side by side. And in the summer, the monkey used to jump from tree to tree to tree to tree and play. And the bird, very dexterously, building its nest and working hard for the winter. So winter comes, it's raining, it's pouring, and the monkey's going, I'm so cold, I don't like this. And the bird is very comfortable in its nest. And the bird, out of the goodness of its heart, says to the monkey, 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 tries to advise the monkey, 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 you know, in the summer you're just playing, 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 and now, look, winter's here and you're suffering. In the summer, I built my nest, and now I'm so comfortable. And the monkey looks at the bird. What? You puny little bird telling me what to do? How dare you? And he goes to the nest and he squashes it and breaks it all apart. Do you see? We have to know where we can walk up to. When we need to step back. When we need to give advice and when we need to just keep quiet. Sometimes people are in that mode, even in our everyday homes. They're in that energy field. And if you say anything just to help them, they'll squash you. And they'll put you down. Because they don't understand. They're in that kind of energy field. And here the Bhagavad Gita says, I'd like to read it to you if you don't mind. The Blessed Lord said, Arjuna is the student, because his student has to go into war. Arjuna has to go into war because he's trying to fight for that which is correct, and he doesn't want to fight. And the Lord God tells him, well, this is your karma. You have to protect those who need protection. Your birth has been a warrior. And if a warrior doesn't look after their people, who will protect the people? Which is the state of the world today. So much corruption in police forces, so much corruption everywhere. And if we can't trust the people who are supposed to protect us, who will protect us? Sorry state of affairs. This is why this should be taught all over the world, in every home, in every school, so that we build back our integrity, our honor, the simple way of being. And he says, these are the qualities of one who will attain a divine state. Fearlessness, a pure thinking heart, staying on the yoga path of wisdom, meaning connection with the higher source. No matter what happens, always giving generously, control the senses, a life full of sacrifice, a desire to study scriptures, acceptance of pain, straightforwardness, not causing pain to others, truthfulness, never angry, always peaceful, renunciation of the fruits of your actions, never speaking falsely or maliciously of others, compassion for all beings, not coveting what others have, gentleness, modesty, never fickle, full of vigor, always forgiving, courageous in adversity, pure of body and mind, no hatred towards anyone, and never with a puffed up pride. These are characteristics, Arjuna, of a man or woman destined for a divine life. On the other hand, Arjuna, those destined for a demonic state meaning your life will be like hell, are ostentatious, arrogant, conceited, and ignorant of the truth. The divine habits lead to freedom, the demonic habits to bondage. But don't be alarmed, Arjuna. You are destined for the divine state. You see, he's telling Arjuna, don't be alarmed, because Arjuna's confused. He's so confused because he doesn't want to fight the war. Again, fighting a war sounds like you're fighting, right? And he says, no, don't worry. Like this girl, Christina, asked me, right? She said, she feels so guilty. And what did I write to her? No, you have done none of those things. You've done none of those things. All you've done is try to save your marriage. All you've done is try to love him. All you've tried to do is explain to him. That's all you've done. And so don't get confused because you get scared. Maybe I'm like this, maybe I've got all these characteristics. There are two types of people in this world. Those predominantly with divine and those with predominantly demonic qualities. I have described at some length those with divine qualities. If you listen now, Arjuna, I will tell you of the demonic. Demonic people do not know right from wrong. They do what should not be done and will not do what ought to be done. You will not find purity or truth in them, nor upright behavior. They insist there is no God, no truth, no moral order anywhere in the universe. Instead, they say everything is just the result of lust and sex. What else is there? Clinging to such distorted views, they destroy their own souls. Because they have so little buddhi, which means discriminative discernment, which means no ability to decipher information, they rise up as enemies of this world. They are cruel to others and bring suffering and destruction. Filled with insatiable desires, they are hypocrites who strut with pride and arrogance. Because they are deluded, they cling to their evil ideas and pursue unclean ends. They are weighed down by one anxiety after another, which ceases only at the moment of death. And still they cling to the belief that satisfying their lust is the greatest goal in life. Bound on all sides by ever-present attachment to one scheme after another, they have given themselves over to greed and anger. Thus they strive to amass vast wealth by any means, hoping in vain to satisfy their insatiable cravings for sensual pleasures. So, and it goes on and on and on. But what I wanted to show you right here is, this is the state of the world, very much the state of the world, in the sense of, these huge companies. The other day I saw the documentary for Enron, the fall of Enron, and you know that, anybody know about that? In 2000, and and this is what they were, just good people who started off with a good idea. And then what happened? Greed, greed, greed. And then when they saw things weren't working, to save their own lives, to save their own company, to save their own way of living, to save their billions, they invented places where they were saying there was a lot of money. They encouraged people to buy their shares, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into the whole documentary. And gave a false illusion of what the company was. But what is false will one day come tumbling down, and it was like a house of cards, tumbling one after the other. The sad thing is, so many people who were innocent and worked so hard to make a living, all their money was lost. Well, we've seen it many times over the last few years, with greed, with banks, with so many things. We've seen it in Cyprus, we've seen it everywhere. And so it will go on. And we, the people who are subjected to this, will always feel abandoned. This feeling of being separated and abandoned. And this is why the spiritual sciences are so beautiful. Because while all that is going on, you can live in your own heavenly world. You can see it from above. And you can see exactly by studying the scriptures what is causing this state. And you can host your own silent war. My silent war is giving as many people information about kindness and goodness and serving each other, as many as we can. But the only way you can do it is if you live it. Practice the truth, practice non-violence on a daily basis, on a daily basis. Because it's very difficult to do it, because when you're doing all these things, people call you crazy, people will say, oh my God, you're a hypocrite, all these words will come to you. And that's why he says, you've got to be fearless. And Gurudev said just before, don't listen to what people say. Just if it feels right in your heart, and you have to live it with yourself, just do it, no matter what comes your way. Because you will be insulted, guaranteed. But better to follow your heart and live a good life than to listen to everybody and fall apart. But you have to be very clear in yourself. You have to be so clear. And if you read this, it makes it so clear. Oh, I'm failing in this relationship or this thing because I'm not, I'm too fearful. I feel too much guilt. I feel this. Do you see, you get all your answers when you read these things, And yes, that person is breaking all the rules. And I need not to condone this. To be very, very clear on the spiritual path. And then, with this feeling of being so clear, you don't feel abandoned. Why? Because you know you're not alone. You know that in your heart, when you start to realize every day, we talk about, we're all one. How many times you hear it? God is everywhere and everyone. We come from the Big Bang. The Yoga Sutra book says we come from the big Om. Rather than a bang, it's an Om vibration, a sound. Vibration creates different levels, you know. And we keep talking about this. But we need to create energy centers of this feeling. And then when a person feels abandoned, they'll say, no, I'm really not. I may be abandoned by the demonic ones, but there are great ones around who are divine. I'm not alone in my path for divinity. And when you do that, there's a peace in your heart and there's a joy in your heart. And there's not a fear, because goodness begets goodness. So always be in the company of the good. And if you ever get, you know, because people, like the Bhagavad Gita said, they will strut around and act as if they know everything. Pride is one of the biggest telltellers on that. People are very proud. I know this and I know that. Be careful. Don't let it impress you. Don't let anything impress you. Follow your heart. Follow your own judgment. It's cheap to talk. And these people are very clever at manipulating your mind and using you to make themselves feel right. You have to be wrong so they can be right. But look for these signs. They'll help you decide very quickly in your life. Many decisions you have to make. And you won't be so calm with your excuses, poor thing, they did this. No, you did this wrong. You need to say, this is not acceptable. I'm willing to forgive you. Change it. And then you can even give them amount of time, 6 months, 1 year. Forgive and forgive. And you see they don't do it, then, okay, you cannot change. This is the consequences, but this is unacceptable. Because being a long time in the company of somebody who is so negative would drag you down. And the more you allow yourself to be manipulated, the more you will be. And I'm sure this man, this man, in a few months, if he has an argument with his mother, then he'll call her again and start to manipulate her. She needs to cut it now. But it's hard because he's left her with no money, all her savings, all her hard work. And so it's hard for her. Thank God she's got great parents who've taken her in with a child. And they will look after her. They're just great people. I know the parents too. But this is the feeling of abandonment, feeling alone. But if you start to develop that feeling when you meditate every day, which is why it's so important to meditate and be on your own, develop this feeling of, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm part of the great plan. And it's very clearly laid out for me that if I want to feel divine and if I want to feel not alone, I need to follow these rules. And then ask yourself daily on a daily basis, am I breaking any of these rules? Because it's cause and effect, the law of karma. As you sow, you reap, said Lord Jesus. It's so sensible. It's really common sense spirituality. But our world seems to cover all the truths in these fancy coverings. And the fancier they are, the more we buy them. Be careful of these fancy coverings. Keep life simple. All the greatest masters have told us, keep your life simple. Keep good friends. You don't need to know everybody. Don't worry about being famous. If you're meant to be, you will be. But keep your home full of good vibration. Keep your home full of light. And whichever people you invite to your home, fill them with this energy of love and light. Do not be ashamed of this energy that is us, the divine being. Do not try to hide it. This is the way. This is our silent war, the war of love, the war of goodness. Whatever, I always say every morning, whoever walks in this home, may they leave with a smile and may they be blessed. May they be blessed. Always, whoever comes into this home, may they feel this way. And the more of us that do this every day, anybody that walks in, this is not my home, this is a temporary home. It's not ours. Your home isn't yours, is it? It's temporary. When you die, you leave it behind for somebody else to fight over. Somebody told me this morning, and I've had many of these cases over the years. You know, the poor parents work so hard for a living, so hard for a living. And then what happens? They get old. You know, they have no more energy. They have all this money in the bank. The father, mother's writing the will, and there, the brothers and sisters are all attacking each other. You know? I know one, you know this, huh? You've seen it. And, you know, one of our students here, she was going through this last year. She started to look after her father, who was very ill, and he was developing dementia. So she didn't want to leave him alone. Since the rest of her brothers and sisters would visit him once in a while, she felt, I'm single, you know, my only son is already grown up, she was separated from her husband. I can look after my dad. What a good thing to do, right? So she goes to work, she comes home, cooks for him, looks after him, medicines, everything. The other siblings, you're only doing it because you want the money from dad. So they all start fighting with her. What does she do? She came to me crying, what do I do? I said, you know, you threaten them. You said, you're going to go to your own house. Who's going to look after dad? They'll have to face the situation then. Nobody will want to go and look after dad. And he's getting very, very sick. So, and anyway, all this, and I said, the poor father, he just lost his wife. And he has to face all this at the last years of his life. So, when you are living, enjoy a little your money. If you have family, leave a little for them as a gift. But make it very clear. Give a gift to each one so nobody feels abandoned. Make it clear, so black and white, so that you do not leave any arguments when you leave. Because it's not going to, this doesn't belong to us. Your home will not belong to you. And many of the arguments we have, many of the fights we have in life is to do with material things. It is. It is. All to do with that. So why do you want to leave your money to cause more pain? Give a lot to charity while you're alive. You know, my father did a very clever thing. He said to me, when we're going through a really bad time in business, and he found out, and actually it was my sister-in-law, I have a lovely sister-in-law, and she came and visited me, and she saw the situation. She goes, she went back to my dad, and she said, and to my eldest brother, and she said, you know, Dad, I know that, Dada, when you go, you want to leave something to your children. But isn't it more fun to do it while you're alive? Because Dad used to give us jewelry, but jewelry for me is neither here or there, you know? I'm not a person who like, wow, diamonds, you know? But, and Indians believe a lot in giving jewelry, so you can resell it if you need it. And so what he did was, he gave me my inheritance every month so I could pay all the bills. How clever is that? And I could enjoy it. I could travel to Hong Kong to visit him every time he was sick. He'd buy my plane tickets. And he was so he loved it so much. He did it for all the three sisters that were going through a difficult time. The boys were all right, so he did it for the three girls. And it's great. He was there to watch us. And he said to my sister, best thing you made me do. And he said to me, Dali, I'm so happy to see you able to buy a new pair of shoes. Or things when you're going through a bad time. I never asked, you see. So I became so abundant with this feeling. So why not do things when you're alive and you can see your family happy, they can share their joy with you. So with my inheritance, I've saved something, so I've decided this August I take my 10-people family on a cruise. My grandchildren, oh Granny, please, can you really afford it? Yes, it's only money. Thank you, Granny, 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 Granny. I said, I'm careful, I'm also careful. I keep for a rainy day as well, so I don't give anybody a headache. And I can carry on doing this and not needing any money. But I thought it was so nice to spoil them. Do you know, it's such a great feeling. I can't wait to see their faces as they go into a cruise. They've never been. My children haven't either. So, do you see what I'm saying? When you live like that and share it, there's a joy, there's a feeling, there's no fear. There's no fear of money is going to leave you. There's no fear of any kind of abandonment. Because you know anyway, you're going to leave it all at the last minute. Anyway, so let's say tomorrow something happens and I lose everything. I really have zero fear. I go, so long as I have 2 hands and 2 feet, no problem. And now Mary's done me a little vegetable garden. I get vegetables. Do you know what's the big deal? What do you need? A little bit of food? What else do you need in your life? So you downsize, you sell this immediately. I wouldn't even think twice of it. So many people cling to their homes, cling to this, and they live in misery. In misery. I remember when my husband lost everything in his business, my father had bought me a home. I said, Dad, I'm going to sell it. Because I need to help my husband. It's only a home. And he says, sell it because you're going to get a good price, but please one day buy a new home for yourself. Look what I got. Never expected it. Because I didn't expect anything. I just thought, let's help the family out. Well, I'm going to let a house imprison me? Then you abandon the person you love. Do you see what we do again and again and again? And that person feels abandoned because of money. We're too fearful where that is all coming from. There's always this feeling of towards everything. But if you can think everything is divine, I'm coming to you right away. If you think of everything is divine, and one day you're going to lose it all anyway. You're not fearful. And when you're not fearful, you live from a very happy place. You're not worried. Of course, always keep something aside for a rainy day. Now people are also foolish. They don't do that too. You need to do that too. They spend everything they have, every single penny. Always give a little to charity, keep a little for a rainy day, and the rest share and enjoy. Yes, Ole, you had something to say.
You know, you gave me the name Arjuna.
You chose it.
Which is confusing in a battle that is very confusing.
Yes.
I am there now. I am, for 30 years I've been looking into these conspiracies and trying to expose what has been
Can you all hear him? Okay.
But,
no. Okay, thank you.
At the moment, I am in a situation where I know the identities of 2 people who have systematically eliminated and killed people. I know this sounds like a cheap film, but it's my reality.
It's the way of the world.
They killed around 1,000 people since the late 50s. They've been the head assassins of the mob and the CIA. And I was contacted by a professor in the States who were in contact with a woman who knew about this, and he's recorded and given me hundreds of hours of interviews with her, great details where she exposes everything. They're involved in all the big JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King and so on. And they're still, even though they're old guys, they're still killing like 2 people a week until last week as well. Now this woman has disappeared who was talking to us. And I have the possibility now of exposing it. At the same time I have a family. And if I feel like totally torn, because if I don't expose it, and then if I expose it, do you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I'm confused. If it was only me, I would do it right away. Whatever I could to stop them. At the same time,
could your family survive without you? Do you feel this is the reason why you were born? Do you think by exposing those 2 people will really make a difference to our world? For the betterment of it? Do you think that by disposing those 2 people, more won't come in and do the same thing?
I'm not saying disposing, I'm saying exposing.
By exposing, well, they'll kill you right away if you expose them. That's going to happen. Yeah. Absolutely.
And they will replace those 2 with another 2.
Yeah,
They will be always next and next.
So the question you have to ask yourself is, Because you have the knowledge,
But
do
at the
you have
same-
the backing? Or are you just going to expose two people and ruin your own life? And it's going to make zero difference.
But
Like
at
this
the
woman.
But at the same time, they're killing people on a regular basis.
And they'll continue to do. The better thing to do is get people. If this was my calling, I would get very good people with a lot of influence. I would go back door to find out who I could trust. But this will take you time.
I've tried for a year. I've gone
People
to the
in-
highest levels. We haven't been able to find anyone.
Anybody you can trust.
No, and the police is so involved in it, both in Canada and the States. It's sort of like...
So what do you think you should do? Is a decision. What could give you freedom of living with yourself?
I don't know.
Destroying yourself, do you think it would really make a difference? Or do you think wait and wait till the opportunity is set there for you? Don't forget, in Arjuna's battle, he was thrown to the forest for 14 years, where they tried to kill him and find him, and it was only after 14 years of hiding and running and escaping that the deal was done and he was allowed to go home. And when he got home, everybody knew that he had kept his part of the bargain. He lived after 14 years. There was a time lapse. So what I'm saying here is, sorry about the Mahabharata, I'm going into the Great War, which is, it takes hours to read and understand. Is it the time to do it now?
I've been invited on a show that goes live and very big. So by exposing it in that circumstance, it would be out there, it would be away from me, it would be exposed to thousands.
But then you will be exposed.
No, but
What
I'm
about your
exposed
family?
anyway.
You could kill your children to get...
Yeah, but the thing is, if you get the spotlight on you, which I've got, that is a sort of like a safety line, because then it confirms, if something happens to me, then it confirms what I put out there. That's how people put themselves at safety.
It's corruption, and you have to. It's a huge question. It's a huge question. The fact that you haven't just said yes and gone there and done it.
It's on Thursday.
Are you doing it?
I'm asking advice.
It's only you can answer this question yourself.
What's your reason of
When
exposing
don't.
them, apart from that they kill people? What is the other motivation you have in your mind or in your heart, apart from killing the people? Because there's millions of people that killing people constantly. You're going after 2 people. Yes, they're killing maybe 2 people a week. You know that, and that's wrong. We know that. But what is the other motivation in your heart that makes you to expose them?
But they are just part of this whole thing that...
Yeah, but that's a separate issue. That's a part of those things. But what is in your heart? And what's the reason in your heart you want to really do it?
I'm confused.
Right.
Not
So,
only killing,
so
there's got to
excuse
be
me,
another
yeah.
reason.
1 second. You're confused. When a person is a little confused, you need time to sit down and meditate on it a little while. Don't make any rash decisions. Wrong time. That's how I would do it. I'm confused. If you are clear, then you do it. And the consequences you accept. And you're happy to die for the world, that's clear. It's clear. Do you see? It became clear to Arjuna in the end. It became clear. But it took time to be clear. You're not clear.
We never
You
got
are
to the end
confused.
of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, he fought the war and they won.
They won. Oh,
They
that's
won
good to
the
hear.
war. They won the war. Against all odds, they won the war. They won. So you have so much knowledge. You have so much. You could really make a difference. Go well equipped. Are you well equipped now? This is what I would do. Do you have enough armies? Arjuna had all the right people backing him. He had a wall of armies backing him. Do you have the right armies? Do you have a host of people who are there to, when you expose, pick up the journey and make it worthwhile. You don't. So you will just lose your life for no reason, and they'll bury you, and people will forget you, and you will have made no difference. So my advice is, until you've got a backing of a great army, don't expose. That's what Arjuna did. He went to all the good people, and he got the backing. This is a war against righteousness. We're going into battle. I need you on my side. Are you on my side? Yes, and I'm going to call my best friend who has influence, and he has the best game shooter. He's coming on our side. And that's how he built up his army. Only when you build up your army, and then he asked Lord Krishna to guide him, the highest in your heart, the one with all the divine qualities which you have. And you work in that divine quality for the sake of righteousness. Then you're ready. You're not ready now. What are you going to do to yourself? Yeah.
When in doubt, do nothing.
Don't do it.
That's the old saying.
Yeah? You're confused. You see, this is a decision nobody can make for you except you, because you have to live with yourself. Of course, we want to save the world. All of us want to save. I think every single person in this room wants to save the world. But be prepared to save it. Be well equipped. Everybody wants to teach Raj Yoga, but you have to know the laws and the science, and then you can teach it. Everybody wants to teach Hatha Yoga, for example. But if you do 1 or 2 classes, you're not equipped. You need to be really equipped. And when you're equipped, you can do a lot in the world. So that's your next plan of action. Get as many people as you can to back you, so that when you do it, they fall like a pack of cards. Not just 1 or 2, but the whole lot falls. Like with Enron, the whole lot fell, you know? Make sure you're prepared to do that. I don't see you prepared at this moment. Yeah. And you would be wasting your life and your families for nothing.
Yeah, and all of us will lose you.
You
have to think how many people
you the camera away.
You have to think how many people you're going to kill by killing yourself, because we're going to lose you.
Yeah.
You have to think, you have to put your own life in balance as well.
Yes.
And
also you could weigh up all
Yeah.
the work you've done. I mean, I don't know about these situations, but in any situation, all the work you've done, if you were to go, it's lost.
Yes.
It's up to you to weigh up the best way to use that asset and information, and only you know whether
It's not yet time. I don't see a time. It's
And
too soon.
Look at
Not
your
yet
state
time.
now. You're already losing your peace.
Peace.
And you're very nervous. I saw it when I walked into this room, because I know you many years, and I thought some tragedy has hit you when I saw your face when I came. And now you're allowing that to lose your peace. Don't.
Yeah, you cannot fight when you're not in peace.
No.
Good answer. So there it is. And the world is
sorry,
not
I took it
abandoned.
No, sorry.
And we don't feel abandoned. And the world won't. If you really, really want to make a difference, be really prepared. Remember that. That's the secret. Be ready for a good fight. Because it is a good fight. And you're going to win it. But you'd lose it now.
And they might use you as a fighter to do the dirty work for some people to eliminate these 2 people. They might have put your head there on the plate instead of somebody else to expose them, because they don't care.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I have this question now. Isn't all sense of abandonment merely a mirror of our idea of separation from God? Absolutely yes. Absolutely true. Did you understand the question? Yeah, it is. This feeling of abandonment, because we're not connected to the divine. We're separated from the divine. And why we separated from the divine, as the Bhagavad clearly said, when you have fear, guilt and worry and anger, you are separated. And when you're feeling abandoned, you have all those feelings, so you are separated. If you want to get back into the feeling of non-separation, you go into a world of gratitude, love, and feel what you do have. As I told Christina, start to see how blessed you are to have your parents on your side, how blessed you've got a safe haven to go to, how blessed that I know you're in pain now, but you've saved yourself from 20 years of misery with this man. You're so loved by the divine. You're going to feel the pain now. Your child will not end up messed up because they've lived with a father who's so narcissistic. You know, you're so blessed. Start to see that in your life, and then you get back onto the divine road, and you get back on the divine channel. But while you've got fear, guilt, worry, people manipulating, you're not feeling good enough, you will be feeling abandoned. It's very simple. The medicine is so simple. Of course you're going to feel the pain. Accepting pain for purification, says Sri Patanjali. This pain is giving me the strength, it's purifying me. I can't be pure when I'm living with this man. All I had was arguments and pain and suffering for 1.5 years. Thank God, you're free from that. At least now, in your home, you got love, love from your mother, love from your father, caring. Much better place to be. He's done you a big favor. Yes, Kelly.
So you didn't receive much of that as a small person that can go throughout life with you.
Yes, that's the feeling of abandonment.
Until you resolve that
spiritual connection. That's why we gave you the name Karuna.
Well, you had asked the other day, you said, I don't know where it's coming from in you.
Yes.
What is this that you cannot be compassionate with yourself? And I really had to sit down and ask because I didn't know.
Do you know?
Yes, because my parents, they were divorced when I was 1. And I didn't see or know my father till I was 8. He didn't bother to
there you go.
even come. And even then it was sketchy at best. And I've forgiven him and I love him. But
nothing to do with that feeling.
There. It's that feeling that's always kind of there, that's the first one to come of, well, I'm not good enough because, well, that was always the message that was given.
That's the separation.
Yeah.
Feel good enough and you don't feel abandoned anymore. Whoever wrote this question is really clever. You've got it. I don't know who wrote it, but it's a brilliant question. Because it's the truth. That is why you feel abandoned. You inside is a feeling of, I don't know, deep-rooted guilt. Remember what I told you, my master told me when we were in the church in Rwanda? We went into the church and he went into the confession box and he called me, Nani, come. And the first thing I thought was, what have I done wrong? Have I done something? Do you see? We're brainwashed to think that way. We are brainwashed. Oh, did I do something wrong? Have I done? And as I walked up to the box, feeling I'm not good enough, I've done something wrong, he said, how dare you call yourself a sinner? You are a child of God. Crashed. I never felt that way afterwards.
Even if you've done bad things and, made mistakes, of course. But
what did Lord Jesus say? What did Paul, when Peter asked Lord Jesus, and he said, how many times should we forgive? And what was his answer? 70 by 7. Does not our Father in heaven do much more for you every day? In other words, you're always forgiven if you come to this point again. If you come to that point of connection where you can love yourself and understand that we all make mistakes and forgive yourself, there's no God going to come to you and go, I forgive you. It's from you. Do you see fear, guilt, and worry live in you? It doesn't happen. Nobody's given those feelings to you because of conditioning over the thousands of millennium. When man started to take the power away from each individual, we all had our power, we all connected. Babies connect. Why do you think when they're born, their heads are so soft? Because crown chakra connected. They always used to protect the baby's head when they were babies. I mean, at my era, we used to. So delicate, so soft. Why? The channels are open. That's why Lord Jesus, be like the children. After the age of 7, it gets harder. My master used to say it becomes like a coconut and the ego becomes so big. But when you're a baby, it's soft because you connect. And that connection is, even if a child does something wrong, it does it wrong, it's purely doing it wrong. It's doing it purely. It does it, it gets up, cries, say sorry. There's no maliciousness in it till they grow up. Then the maliciousness starts. Then the bullying starts. And then the separation starts. So yes, you got the answer. That's why you're named Karuna. When you can just really see that you're not responsible for things happen. And really get strong and use the power, Shakti. We call it Shakti. Shakti's force. And this is why you should build up your physical strength. Go to as many other classes or whatever you need. Run, walk, whatever is your love, swim. Build up your physical strength because your body is... And look how it's related. If you do exercise, the endorphins make you happy. Every person that sees me is depressed, do you know what I put on the first thing on their list? Prescription. I give them about 16 things to do. First thing on their list, exercise right away. At least 1 hour a day. I can't. Okay, 20 minutes brisk walking. And if they say I can't, I call their partner. Do you want your partner to get better? Yes. Well, this is on you now. You become their doctor. You want to heal your husband or wife? This is the way to do it. Make sure they do it every day. This is the medicine. You become the doctor. Then I also teach the partner how to do deep relaxation on their partner, how to talk to them, what to do, keep them animated, because they have to do it together. Because I'm 1 hour a week. They're living them every day. Every day. So give all the techniques. I give you all the techniques when we do the Sri Patanjali, and I'll give you as many techniques as you want, but do it in your home. Treat people yourself. Don't send them to a doctor just to put pills. That's abandonment to me. It's a quick way out, and it's not a quick way out. Because everybody's gone that way, have suffered. The other partner's gone crazy living with them. So bring yourself to whole. When we are whole, W-H-O-L-E, we're in the divine. And there, Sri Patanjali tells us, the Bible tells us, all the spiritual. Buddha speaks about, the Buddhist tradition, the 8 right ways of living. Right action, right way of making a living, right meditation, right words, right this, right the 8 things it lists out to do to live a happy life. So just follow it. Now Buddhism becomes so much stuff in it. It was so simple when I was a young girl. Now it's you have to do this and this body, this body. I don't know, they confuse everything that is beautiful. Same with yoga. The word yoga means connection with the divine. Oh, you can't get connected if you don't do this posture. Wow, what a lot of anybody can get. Yoga means connecting with your higher self, any way you choose. And when you do that, you don't feel abandoned. Because you know you're not alone. You actually connect to that source, what we call God or whatever you want to call it. You connect. But you cannot be in fear, guilt, or worry. It breaks. Every time things are not working for you, this is how I did it in the early days. What's blocking me? Fear was a big one. I was scared of everything. Frightened of everything. Boo, and I'll cry. Oh, I had a long journey ahead of me. And I was 33, I'm 59, I'm going to be 60 this year. But by the age, every year my life got better and less fearless. And I just kept going. Oh my God, this is magic. Because I started to approve of myself more and more and more. And I kept saying, you're a child of God. You're not a sinner. Got it? You're a child of God. You're not a sinner. And keep going like that. And how would a child of God behave? How would a child of God behave? If there is such a... It's energy. That energy, that what's everywhere, the prana we call it, the chi energy, is made from truth, knowledge and bliss. Know yourself. It's so simple. Know yourself. When you scream and shout, you don't like you. Isn't it true? Isn't it simple? When you're angry, you can't sleep. When you're confused and full of guilt, should I, shouldn't I, you can't sleep. So bring yourself back to a place of quiet and peace. When the time is right, you will know so clearly, I'm ready. And your family will also be ready. They're not ready. You're not ready. And gather the armies. Prepare for more love and kindness. Everybody admires you because you've stayed there. Go into fear mode. It will disappear. Are you clear? Make it very clear. So, let me just drink some water. Talked so much last week. I did too much. And next one. Do we not all have an issue of abandonment because we are born, or from the time we are born. Yes, many people, most people have this feeling. I don't. Do you have an issue with that? Not at all, but many people do. And sometimes not from the moment we are born. Sometimes life, like in Christina's case, right? Excuse me.
Do you want some hot water in there?
I know it'll go in a while. You know, remember I told you I had medication for so many years, right? For the last 8 weeks, I've stopped. And so the body has to get used to being without it also. So it comes up like this as well.
Especially with last week.
Pardon?
Especially with last week.
No, last week was great. We had a great time. Oh, sometimes it's a need.
Just maybe a little.
I think it'd probably make it worse. Okay. Thank you for your kindness. It will be fine. See, this serotype is a powder that I've been using for nearly 30 years. It's cortisoid, and I stopped 8 weeks ago. So the throat area when you blow in, it's probably, detoxing all of this. So it's been like this for many nights. I don't sleep too well. But it's good. I have to go through it.
Yeah.
I have to detox, so you have to go through pain, right? So I don't normally like to say, but today it hit me in the class. But normally it hits me at night.
Nalanie, can we do an own travel run 3 times for you? Maybe you always give us so much. And then you can rescue us.
You love heels. I would love that later, because we also have to pray for Alan and a few other people, so thank you. But I forgive me for not doing my job so well.
Oh.
In your deepest, darkest hour, I will not abandon you. Who wrote this lovely prayer? And that is the truth. In your deepest, darkest hour, I will not abandon you. And that is the absolute truth. When you start to feel when you feel the love of whatever it is, whatever word you want to use, when you really feel that love, you just know you are so safe. Being humans, once in a while we fall off the cliff. And when you fall off the cliff, these are your darkest hours. Tell yourself, it's just temporary. And this too shall pass. Remember the time. Remember the time, the last time you were in trouble, and how you were picked up. Remember how you got through it. If you look at your entire life, the amounts of times when you thought you wouldn't make it through, you have. Isn't it quite incredible? All the things we've been through our life, the worst moments, we've gone through it. What does that tell you?
So passing.
This too shall pass.
All passing.
All passes. All passes.
You have to surrender. You have that.
Correct.
Feeling. That's so important.
Absolutely. And we're never abandoned. We cannot be. We're energy, we're space. So it's all mind stuff. We're made out of atoms. When we lose the body, we're just going to be out of this body, and we're going to be atoms, energy. We fill the air. We abandon ourselves. And the moment we abandon ourselves, we need to connect. Connect, like I said, use good people to connect with you. People who love you, who admire you, who bring the best out of you. Not say, poor you did this wrong, and do it this way, and give you all the advice. You don't need to hear that. You just need to be loved for who you are. Nothing else. Laugh a lot. Watch comedies a lot. I think that's why God created comedies and music, and why we've got so much culture, beautiful things around us, don't we? I'm still determined that this area we need to bring more culture here. and bombard this place with joy. Because when you have all this wonderful thing, your mind will go, we're here to create and make it a beautiful world, not destroy it. Like these people. So if the force of goodness, if the force of creativity, if the force of art in each one becomes stronger, then the other force has no more power over us. It has no more power over us. So become strong. That is my wish for all students. Just become strong. And you'll feel connection with the divine. Everywhere you need courage, you need courage, you need courage. What do you need courage for? To be simply you. Simply you. And the real you is truth, knowledge, bliss. Absolute. It's that simple. And go back to that each time. One of my favorite chants used to be, when I had a lot of physical pain, fractured my foot, Shanti was with me twice, and operations, asthmatic attacks, pneumonia. I used to say, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. Sing with me. I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. You're immortal. Do you know what that means? You cannot die. Energy cannot die. This is only a short phase in your life. There's millions of lifetimes you may live. Billions. This is one adventure. Make it good. Make it fun. Make it full of joy. You know you are failing in divine when you're not in those things. And that's why I love this master. I keep saying it. When he was the only spiritual person I met who said, did you know happiness is your birthright? Why are you suffering? Don't you know that? And I loved it because it made sense. Why would we choose to come to earth unless to be happy? And what do most of us do? Focus on the negative. Focus on the pain. Focus on the suffering. Yes.
Some people
Tara?
Some people take that to extremes, though. I deserve to be happy.
That's selfishness. Again, Sri
I will do this.
good point. And this is again the lack of balance. And Sri Patanjali, again, do you remember which sutra? Tells us, how do you know that you're not taking it to extreme? When you become selfish. And when you become selfish, notice your life becomes painful. Notice. Just notice. When you become selfish, you are not happy. Just look at it. I have many, many students in the past. Oh, you know what? They tell their children, I have to go to my yoga class or my dance class. Eat your food quick. Eat your food quick. Kid has ADHD. You know that, right? Why does a child have ADHD? Because the mother's always shooing it away, so it's always coming for more attention. What is it asking for? I need you, Mom. And you're just for what? For you. And then you go and tell everybody, here is peace. And your child is suffering. Do you see? It's a crazy world. Haven't you seen that? I've seen that. So many teachers with disturbed kids. But it's my time, Nalanie. It's good for my soul. Then don't bring children in the world. Don't bring children in the world. Why do you bring them? You bring them, you brought them, you had a ball, and you created a child, and now it's all about you. You bring them, you need to nurture them. You plant a seed, you need to nurture it. The time will come, they will grow up. The law of life is so perfect. They will grow up, they will want their own independence. That's when you practice non-attachment, and then you start to create another kind of world for yourself. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. You've done everything. You've made your living. The kids are grown up. They've gone to school. And if you treat them like that, when you get old, they'll look after you. Do you know what my son was the saddest when my husband died? You know what he said to me? Mom, Dad didn't give me enough time to buy him that Mercedes. I wanted so much to buy Dad after all he did for us with our education. He didn't give me enough time to do it for him. He's frustrated. It was his dream to buy his dad the best car ever. And you know, he still feels, I wish I should have worked harder after university. I spent maybe too much time going to this place and that. He didn't. He went straight to work. He never went anywhere. But in his heart, he feels like that. And I have to tell him, you gave your dad the best Mercedes of all by turning out to be a good father, a good husband. You're a wonder and a good son. That's the best gift you can give him. But you see, when you do things like that and you nurture them, they nurture their other families. And we create nurturing and love. So how do you see? Absolutely right. There is a selfishness, and that's not spiritual. Real spiritual, I read sacrifice, did you hear? Is sometimes you have to give up things that you really want to do. But you know it's helping the higher order of things. There's a selflessness in it. It feels right. It feels right. It might not be easy, but it feels right. Sacrifice is never easy, but it feels right. When you sacrifice of your time, for example, to meditate, you sacrifice your time. I never took my kids' time or my husband's time. I got up 1 hour earlier. Do you see? I didn't take anybody's time. I did it 1 hour earlier. So I had to wake up. I'm very grateful for the habit I developed. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not, you don't go into people's time and then you go, oh, I have to do this for me. There's selfishness in it. Savitri, Cheyenne said something really beautiful the other day when she gave her talk. What did she say? She said, I'm not very good at communicating. I'm always telling my husband that he doesn't know how to make decisions. So when I came from this course, I told him to make decisions for me. I said, Friday night, I want to stay with the rest of the people in the course. Maybe we stay in Spain. Maybe we stay, I told him, in Gibraltar, in one of my friend's house, organized for the children to have babysitting. So for once in his life, he did it. He organized it. The children to have babysitting and everything. Now, the plans with her friends fell flat. Right? Didn't work. Nobody was going to stay here and nobody wanted everybody at home. Everybody wanted their own time. So she goes home and she said to her husband, I want my kids here. Why did you organize the babysitting? Do you see, this is what she said, and I realized at that point that it was selfish. And it suited me, he doesn't make up his mind. When he makes up his mind, it didn't suit me. Do you see where it's coming from, that selfishness? She'll tell everybody, right? And people will get this blurred vision. Oh, I wanted to have my children at home. My husband made all the wrong plans. He actually did what she wanted him. Do you see what we do in life? It's very, very, and she realized that, which was a great awakening in her. It's a great awakening in her, because she won't do this again. And she'll be free. She will be free. So this is how you detect. I'm really glad you brought that up, because this is people have become very selfish in the search for God. And it's a selfless journey, not a selfish journey. It's a journey of sharing. And you know, when people have information, oh, I don't want to give it to you. They're all competing, you know. I went to Madrid to this yoga teacher festival, 250 people. Teachers. All competing, all big egos. And I go, I've come to a political thing. After that, no thank you. I was invited to be part of the whole, the person who ran it. When I gave my talk, he said, please, I want you to come and be vice president, come join us. I said, sorry, I prefer my little simple world. Because I don't want to waste my whole life. Yes, I would have been very famous by now. But my whole life would be governed by what other people think and big egos. What a waste of a lifetime. When I can be here with simple souls and my grandchildren and enjoy every day and walk every day. And, you know, the simple things that make life so delicious, just to sit and be. And to have lovely conversations like this with you. To talk about the spirit. I would never have had that.
You talk about about how to help others.
And how to serve others, yeah, because it makes us happy. Yes. Oh, talking about service, it's 7:30. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep you anymore. I hope I've answered the questions.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming. And I just want to let you know, there are 7 children that we are sponsoring in Sri Lanka to go to school, to a government school that's already set up. I've met them. The photographs are with her, and she'll probably pin them up on the wall. And their education is 12, I think it's 12 pounds or 12 euros a month. So we have decided all the donations. So we worked out, 7 will cost us 72 euros a month. So whatever we get on Tuesday classes, our group is going to sponsor 6 children. Carrie's class, which is just children's class on Wednesday, will sponsor 1 from donations that come in. So thank you all. Whether you like it or not, you're involved.
And we will give you the count every month if we like.
She's in charge, right? And with, these 2 will be in charge of the
We will
account.
be counting the pennies.
We'll easily
If
get
there's
it.
a discrepancy, we'll have to ask for more donations.
There won't be.
Yeah.
We got it this morning already, so we've done. What a brilliant idea! We've got 6 children ready. Shanti, did you hear that?
No, I didn't. It was okay. I know.
Okay.
No.
So it will come from the donations, and then all the rest will go towards, as you know, covering electrics and all that stuff that needs to be covered in a center, you know, because it covers itself, and that's what it's going to. So, and then we're also planning a gala evening. We might need some of you to help us with this big one, to raise funds for association, or the Spanish word was difficult, for for children who are mitochondrial disease, children who suffer from mitochondrial disease.
What is that?
What my granddaughter has, it's the energy in the cell. It doesn't create more energy. So there are many different forms of mitochondria, but not much is known about it. It's only now getting to be known. And they found it exists in the chromosome, the DNA, and if they can pinpoint it, they can help a lot of children. What we do know, like in the case of my granddaughter, that absolutely early therapy, physiotherapy, speech therapy makes a huge difference. Now, in our case, we are very fortunate. We have the means to do this, to give them, to pay for this treatment. But in many of these families that we meet, they just can't afford the layout of the money. And I remember when we went to the government hospital first in Malaga, when my granddaughter was a year, and the doctor actually said to my daughter, "This child will never improve. Don't expect anything from her." And I looked, and my daughter cried with my son-in-law, and I looked at her and I said, "You are wrong." I said, 6 months ago, you said she will never sit. She told my daughter that. And she was a year and a half. And I took Talia, and she couldn't really sit, but at least she could sit on her bum 6 months later. So I put her on the desk of the doctor, and I said, "She's sitting. She is sitting, not perfectly, but she's sitting. And don't you ever tell my daughter that again. Don't take hope away from her." And I realized how many people must be doing this. And how many people must be losing hope. So we want to help as many people to get hope in life, you know. Because even if the child dies, and the prognosis is bad, but never take hope away from people. And look at the miracle now, she's walking. Communicating, doing hatha yoga, you know, brilliantly. So I appointed Karen because Karen and Kamala, both of them go to my daughter's house and give her free classes every Monday and Wednesday. I'm very grateful. Do you see, I have the support. How many people don't? So we want to make the awareness that they need support. That many women and men very alone, very abandoned in this case. And there's so many children with mitochondrial disease. I'm shocked I didn't know that. So we're hoping to have a gala dinner organized by SIS team, and we'll call you because we think we want to make it really quite a big affair. Because we need the rich to come to get their money. I'm being totally honest. We're being totally honest, so we're going to do it really well, because without them, let them use their money to serve others is great.
And it makes them feel good.
Yes, makes them feel good.
Yes, in Gibraltar or in Spain?
In Spain. No, here. We want to do, whatever we are doing here should be here. Whatever I do in Gibraltar should be in Gibraltar. We are living here, we need to support the place here. This is my belief system. We also do lots in Gibraltar. We have a center there. But we're living here. We must enrich wherever we're living and bring it a lot of spirit, love, joy, you know. This is where we live, and we must promote it more and more. And so they have lovely ideas, so we're going to use their ideas. Yes?
Can I just say thank you as well for parking so beautifully? I came here and was just like, woof.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I've had no trouble from my neighbor.
No, it looks great.
Right.
Yeah. And before we close, I'd like to say one more thing. Dora Devamani, her ex-partner has asked for prayers. He did something not very good many years ago, and he wanted to start a new life, but he went to Portugal in Algarve and he was arrested and he's in prison. And he doesn't believe he's guilty because apparently he beat up somebody who was supposed to be a gangster. He took the law into his own hands. So anyway, he's in prison, he's feeling really, really quite bad and feels abandoned. So he's requested that if anybody could write him some letters to give him hope. So except for Devamani, we can all do that. She can't because he's obsessed with her. And I think you need to let him let you go also. So if you need the address, please get it from her. And if you'd like to write him a note of hope and read nice books while you're in prison, learn to find your joy. Remember Gandhi went to prison, Nelson Mandela went to prison, and give him this kind of nice advice, you know. I'm planning to send him some nice booklets, thin booklets that are positive, so that his mind can go to a higher place. So the reason why I say she can't, he has too much attachment, you see. And the moment she's there, he'll want to drain her. And she's the one who gives the information, but she can't be part of it. Is that okay? For a little while only, till he gets strong. Till he gets strong, because he manipulates you. And then he won't work on himself. It's only when he knows he's really lost you that he will start to work on himself. Hard, I know. Sorry. It's hard. You see, living is not easy. So we can do as much good in a bad situation. So we'll do the Om Travagams. Did I say it right, Devamani? Am I correct? Did I miss anything out? Okay. And Lakshmi, one of our students, lost her sister suddenly with a heart attack last week. Asked for prayers for her soul. Maudi, who was here for the course last week, her father-in-law passed away as well. So please, all on Sunday.
And my dear godmother passed away last week, just before I was going to fly to her 90th birthday.
Oh, I'm
She
sorry.
had my present and card before she died, but not so very happy.
Great.
And Karen's brother's dog as well.
And Sarah's brother has just been diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, that's right. She did write me. Thank you for remembering. She did write me an email. Thank you. And
Challenging times.
every day is challenging.
For your troth.
Oh, yes, for that to heal. Thank you. I appreciate it. With your love, I'll probably be absolutely fine tomorrow. But you know, I'm really happy. It's the first time in my life I am medication free.
Excellent.
You know, and it's taken 30 years of yoga practices. I used to be on 32 tablets a day just to survive. So I'm just, it's great. So this is nothing. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
Rebecca. Everybody think Rebecca was a young girl, 28 years old, who came here on our course she flew from England, can you believe, with stage 4 cancer. And she sat through, I don't know how she did that.
So amazing. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It wasn't, I think it was her that made everybody feel their problems were nothing.
Yes.
Do you know, maybe this was the most dynamic course I've ever had, in the sense that everybody was so kind to each other. And the way everybody spoiled her and looked up. You see, when you're in service and it's not selfish, you love yourself. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
There's a feeling of God in it with Tara. Okay, everybody, said, can we have lunch? I said, I'm so sorry, my children are coming. I need to spend time with my family. They can come to my house. Do you mind? Mind? I don't mind. Thank you for being so kind to share your house. And love so many people.
Delicious the food.
Yes.
I was saying jokingly, I said, I think it was a bit of a selfish action, because it was actually me who didn't want to let everyone go, so I wanted to get everyone to come.
But they were so happy to come. So it's a selfish action. See, that's a real selfless action. What is a perfect action? One that brings some benefit to someone, no harm to anyone, including yourself. The best kind of selfish action. Yes? Win-win. You remember that? And it's win-win for everybody. Then you're in a pure energy. Pure energy. And the divine is there. And you feel God. You feel God in that energy. You feel God. Now, I have a very simple homework before we close. And the homework is, this week, in your meditation, when you sit down, I want you to hear the words, I love you so much. Alright? Promise? Hear it. Even if you have to say it to yourself, just say that. Every day this week during your meditation. I love you so much. Just repeat that. See the difference in you. And smile a lot, smile a lot. We're going to die one of these days. We might as well live. It's quite funny, right? When you think about it, you have to laugh. We make so much fuss over so many things. It's so much easier to be happy. It's so much easier to laugh. So 3 on prayer, McGowan's. Will you do that?
Yes. Ayam yajamahe sugandhi pushtivardanam urvarukamiva vandanam mrityomokshir mamritat yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam urvarukamiva vandanam mrityomokshire mamritat Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityomokshire Mamritat Om Shanti 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 Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu. May
peace and joy,
love and light.
May you all be filled with peace and joy, love, light, laughter, wisdom. Shanti, 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 Shanti. Jai.